Let's look at an example of an environment diagram that includes lambda expressions and lambda functions. A lambda function's parent is the current frame in which the corresponding lambda expression is evaluated. So here's an example where we set a equal to 1. We define a new function f, which takes a function g, assigns a to 2. This will be a local assignment within an f frame. Then it returns a function. In this case, a function that's created through a lambda expression, lambda y, a times g of y. So here we see how g is used, as it's called within the body of the lambda. Now we call f. F takes a function, and we create one here, a function that adds a to whatever's passed in y. Now this call to f actually returns another function, which means we can call that on a. Now, the key question here is which a is used in each of these cases. This expression, lambda y a plus y, is evaluated in the global frame. I know that because it's not part of the body of some function. Everything that is not indented at all is going to be evaluated in the global frame. So I know that this will create a function whose parent is global, and therefore a will be the global a, 1. The rest of this expression, where we call whatever is returned on a, is also part of a global expression, not part of the body of a function. And so this a is the global a as well. By contrast, any lambda expression that appears within the body of f is going to have as its parent the f frame. In that frame, a will be assigned to 2. This lambda expression will be evaluated in that frame, and therefore will have the parent f1. And so when it is called, a will be 2. Now we're ready to look at the environment diagram. A is assigned to 1, f's bound to the f function. Then we try to evaluate this expression. In order to do so, we have to evaluate its operator to figure out what function we're going to call. And that operator is itself a call expression where we evaluate f. So we're calling this function, and we evaluate the operand sub-expression, which creates a new function. Here we are on line 5, a lambda function, and notice the parent is global because this lambda expression is part of a global expression, not part of the body of any function. Even though the way that this gets used is that it's immediately passed in as an argument to f, and therefore only can be referred to from within the f1 frame. So f1 has the name g, which is the formal parameter g, but it's bound to a lambda function whose parent is global, meaning that when it gets called, it's going to use the global a1 instead of the local a2. A gets bound to 2, and we return a function. This function, even though it will be called later, will have as its parent f1 because it gets its parent when it's created, and it gets created and then returned. Where does it get returned to? Well, it's the value of this expression. So now we know what function we're calling on a, and we need to look up what a is. It's 1, and we're ready to call this lambda function on 1, which we do here, creating a lambda frame with parent f1 for the lambda on line 4 with its formal parameter y bound to the argument 1. What does it do? Well, we have to go look up its body. This one, a times g of y. What's a? We look here, and there's no a, so we look in the parent. A is 2. And what's g times y? Well, we have to figure out what g is. There's no g here, so we look in the parent. There's g. We're going to call g on the number 1, and that's what leads to this additional frame. This frame is for evaluating a plus y. When I look for a, I find that it's not here, and so I look in the parent, which is global. There's the 1. Y was 1. and I add those together to get 2. This 2 is the value of g of y. We already looked up a. It was 2, which is why we get a return value of 4.